Hello beautiful people, Carl here from Games, Brains and Headbanging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And it is of course, the state of things. Where does the time go? It's been ages. It actually feels like it's been even longer, but it's only been a few weeks since I sought to sit down and chat to the camera like this. Yeah, lots been going on. If you remember, hold on. I've left my cup of coffee all the way over there. I want to get it. Because immediately I want to have a drink of it, so bear with me. Yeah, where was I? Right, yeah, obviously if you remember last time we spoke, I was gearing up to change locations and jobs at work and still working my way towards owning a bloody house. And at the time, the plan had been to continue this like normal. However, just, no time. Tiredness, motivation, you name it, all of it was lacking. It's been a difficult few weeks. It's been an interesting few weeks, and things are sort of settling. But once again, it's still a long, long way to go. I love coffee. You know, I know about to cut back in it these days, but I still thoroughly love coffee. Are you at Black Sabbath today? In Birmingham. It's going to be an incredible show. Quite an emotional one, I imagine, for many people. I think it'll be quite emotional for me. I'm gonna have quite a busy day here at home, alone, because Lou will be at some friends, and I'm just going to chill out and do some videos. Hence why we're talking right now, and edit these videos, and then maybe play some Xbox, maybe check in on social media to sort of see some of the pictures and things like that. Because I love looking at other people's pictures of them having a good time at concerts and all that. That's not sarcasm. I generally do. I don't care about Oasis one bit, but I couldn't help but look at a lot of the photos from Cardiff last night. That's when this is being recorded on the Saturday. You might be watching it tomorrow on the Sunday, just because of timings more than anything else. But yeah, I just love looking at it. It's always just such a joy to see. Of course I get a little bit of jealousy, fear of missing out and all of that kind of thing. But the reality of it is, there was never any chance for me to be able to go to this show in Birmingham because of the timing, because of the dates more than anything else. Anything that's been happening around this particular set of time period has been really difficult for me to, because of the changes at work. My entire shift pattern got wrecked. It was a close call, even if I'd be able to go to Bloodstock, Mangata. I've only just managed to sort Mangata Festival out pretty much at the last minute. I was going to go nonetheless, but it was more likely that I was going to have to go to Mangata, do the entire festival without a touch of alcohol, which is fine, obviously, and then drive back directly after Mangata, which would take me maybe 2.5-3 hours to get back to London. Then, so you're talking about me hopefully being home by 12:30, 1 in the morning, then getting up at 5 for work to start at 7 in the morning. That was how it was looking. Now, thankfully, someone has done me a favour and has swapped duties with me, so I will now actually be off on the Sunday, so I can stay overnight and actually enjoy a few beers at Mangata, and then make my way back at a much more reasonable time. But I really appreciate colleagues doing that, because it's been difficult to ask for changes and swaps and things like that, because you don't really know. I don't know anybody. Nobody really knows anybody outside of the people that were already there and who stayed. But to put it into context, right? Like, effectively, what's happened is 70% of people have left, and 60% people have come in from varied backgrounds across the underground. So it turns out I consider myself lucky, basically, quite lucky in the end, because thanks to my time on the job, my years I've put into it, and the fact I've been around on numerous different lines and stations over the last 10 years particularly, I've met a lot of new people and I've got a little bit more confidence. But also, I'm going back to an area I previously worked. I worked on the Jubilee line pre-2016, specifically the extension, which of course is the Green Park down to Stratford section of the Jubilee line. Obviously, North Greenwich in particular was one of my previous stations, so I've had a lot of nostalgic moments, deja vu moments going back there, and with that, some old colleagues who have still remained at those stations. I've seen them as well, but also other colleagues from other stations that I met over the years have ended up here too. So for me, it's not been the biggest shift at all. In fact, as the time has gone on, I'm now 2 weeks in. My confidence has grown to the point where I feel at home to a certain degree. The biggest problem has been simply getting to know people, getting to understand what the demands are and what's expected of me. And the biggest shocker is comes from the website side of things, the GBHBL side of things. Now, this is going to sound weird, but previously where I worked afforded me a certain amount of time at work, provided everything was quiet, to do reviews, to write reviews, to do a lot of different stuff. Particularly because I was often in an office alone. That doesn't really exist anymore, and it's been a bit of a shock to my system and made it feel like sometimes I may not be able to keep up with GBHBL as much as I would like to. I do think that is going to be a long-term problem, but I am having to adapt how I do things and work in a different way. I'm not quite there yet. I'm learning a new way of doing things, a new way of approaching things, a new way to write and to read and to understand, and all these things. I am just changing how I do things, and that's actually in a way sometimes a good thing, because I should never and I could never have relied on just being able to do it at work. That would be a mistake. But it just not having that same, and don't get me wrong, as time goes by I will still have those opportunities. It's not all 24/7 go on an underground station, unsurprisingly, but it's mainly because there is a lot more to do. And likewise, there's two of us at one time now, and not everybody likes heavy metal. So it's not like I can just have it playing all the time and things like that. It's about behaviour at work, of course, appropriateness as well. Can't be watching horror movies at work and things like that. Of course not. But night shifts still exist, and those when the stations are closed allows me a little bit more time potentially to put some music on while I'm doing paperwork or doing other bits and bobs, and then just writing notes here and there. And that's what that's one of the biggest shifts that I'm really finding and having to learn, is that my reviews are taking on more of an early note form than they ever were before. I could listen to an album through a couple of times, and at the end of that pretty much have the bulk of a review written, outside of a few grammatical errors, spelling mistakes and so on, and that kind of thing. Now it's more of like I'm scrolling bullet points, and then later at home in front of a computer looking at what I've written and going, well, first, what the fuck did I write? But also like, okay, how can I take this and transform it into a review? It is different for me. It's going to take some getting used to, but I'm excited for the challenge. And alongside that, I also like the usual is still happening. It's been a lot of fun dealing with the pressure of feeling, and importantly getting the Bloodstock content off and rolling, doing other bits here and there, still trying to keep up with the video interviews and things like that while adapting at work. Now the good news is that I found myself less tired, which is really intriguing, because it's not taking me as long. Oh, I got a fucking moustache hair in my mouth. Gross. Because it's not taking me as long to get to work and to get home, I'm finding I'm not as stressed, I'm not as tired. These are the benefits of why the move was quite important for me as well. So long term, it is still long term. It's still too early. I'm only 2 weeks in. I've only done 2 full weeks. But yeah, it's going well, and long term, I do believe it'll be beneficial. I've had a couple of moments where I wondered if I'd made the right decision, and if I shouldn't have just gone for the easy, quiet life of staying where I was and just kind of like carrying on as things had been. But I think I don't think I could have done that. It wasn't making me happy. It was making me more miserable time after time. And the extension of those where I was becoming like 10 station group instead of 5 was going to be a problem nonetheless. So it is the right decision. I'm glad I've done it. Yeah, I'll just keep you updated in regards to that. Time's going to go by, and suddenly it's just going to become the norm. Slowly but surely, I'm meeting people and getting to know people, meeting names, trying to give off the best impression I can. I want people to, I want to be helpful. And what I mean by that is, my job is at its best when everybody is working together. E.g. helping each other in other ways, be it shift swaps, be it like staying on, sorting someone out a couple of hours here and there, that kind of thing. It's early days, so no one really knows who or what people are cool with and what they're capable of and what they want to do and stuff like that. I'm trying to give off the impression that, look, I'm open to like sorting you out. Do me a favour and I will do you a favour, and I'll be grateful for that favour. That's basically my thinking, and thankfully some people have already done me a favour, so I look forward to repaying them. Job's way better when everybody's kind of like, working together. And I don't mean like, from a management perspective and all of that. No, thank you. But yeah, mainly just from our grade, our level. But alongside that, of course, it's the house stuff. I'd love to tell you that it's all finished, but I'd be lying. It's not the case. It's not quite. It seemingly is about to be finished. I say that in a way because it's been very, very hard to make this. I've struggled to have this feel real, and it still doesn't. Even though we've signed contracts, and at this point in time, well, not this specific point in time because it's a weekend, but at this point in time, the deposit money is simply being moved around. And that we are expected to get a completion date which is still like, you know, estimated to be mid-July, in the next week, basically. This is it. It is done. But I said previously that I thought it might feel real when we sign contracts. That was one of the most underwhelming parts of it, to be fair. Now, don't get me wrong, I can't blame the solicitors who haven't been the best when it comes to communication. But it really, really felt underwhelming. Like, oh, I actually had to Google what I was signing. You know, I was like, right, before I don't really get what I'm looking at here. It didn't really explain it very well. Every email sent takes a day. There's no instant reply. There's no like easy freaking answer. Like they've done the job. The job has been done, and it's moved at a snappy enough pace, particularly in regards to how these things normally take. But it's just been a bit of a difficulty. Someone's getting direct answers. Like, put it this way, like the last communication we had was regarding the deposit, and I swear the initial email about that was so copy and paste that was not relevant to what our situation was. We have a deposit tied up in 2 LICEs, that's lifetime ISAs, where we basically utilise to get the government bonus for a couple of years. And obviously there are rules around that and how it's used, so you've got to be really, really careful so we don't incur a penalty. And it's pretty straightforward how to use it and how it can be used for a deposit and stuff like that. But we told them this early on. We said, look, right, most of the deposit, annoyingly, not the whole deposit, the majority of the deposit, is like £250 short, which we can simply provide, obviously, from funds elsewhere, savings. But that meant there's 3 transactions going on instead of 2. But we told them earlier on, look, we've got 2 LICEs, and like, we don't want to delay things, so tell us what we need to do to get the process started so you're ready to go. And then like, they were like, oh yeah, we'll do this part, and we did this part. And then I was like, okay, but like, why not get the customer information part kind of done in place? And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, we'll do that in future. And it's like, okay, and it turns out now that's going to slow things down because that can take like 5 working days. And it's like, well, perhaps if you'd listened to me back then. We had an email we got about it was so generic, didn't really seem relevant to us, and immediately had me having to reply going saying like, what is this? Like, I'm not very, I can be quite blunt in my emails, and that I kind of like, not rude, but like, because there's no tone, it might come across that way. But it was very much like, this email isn't relevant. Where's the information related to us directly? We told you this, and why has it not already been set in motion? Like, these are the things I'm asking. The second email I got back was at least a little bit more relevant to us, but even then it was like, oh yeah, no worries, we'll get this we'll get this moving now. And it's like, why now? I don't know. I know I'm being impatient. I've always said this about this. We are from the start, from the solicitor side of things, 2 months, almost 2 months, 2 weeks into the process. Obviously, the actual process has been a bit longer than that, and obviously, you know, it can take so much longer than that. But it also feels like there are times where this could have been quicker, particularly in regards to like what has probably been the really sticking issue of the house overall, which basically turned out they had a loft conversion done. Using it as an office. It's one of the things that sold us about the place. And it was done maybe 24, 25 years ago. And it turns out they did it without building regulations, which caused a bit of a, oh, right, this is a problem kind of thing. So we had to get indemnity policies taken out. And yeah, that was slowed things down temporarily. And it was a bit frustrating, you know. 25 years ago, it's clearly fine. It's not come down, or any part of it's come down. But you can't take that risk, and you got to be careful about it. And also, from a legality perspective that we had to look into, and it all turned out to be okay in the end, but it slowed things down temporarily. We had no plans. We have no plans to use it as a bedroom. Anyway, it's going to remain as an office, so that's totally fine. It's going to be the GBHBL office, basically. That is the plan for that. But yeah, it was a bit, things like that kind of slowed things down. There was an issue regarding documentation for like double glazing that had been done for the, again, guess these people they'd lived there never really thought too long and hard about. And of course, you know, this comes with risk, where it's like, well, if you haven't got that documentation and this goes wrong or this goes wrong, you're going to end up having to pay for it. But, you know, we're kind of prepared for a lot of these sort of things. We know this is different to renting. We know this is different renting, but we've always rented in a really, really unusual way. We've had, myself and Lou, 2 landlords over our time together. It's 2 landlords and 2 separate flats, and both flats were quite long term. And both landlords, basically, I can count on one hand how many times we saw the first landlord over like 6 years, maybe a bit longer. And I can count on 2 hands, maybe 3 three at most how many times we've seen our current landlord over 10 years. We've been quite lucky. This place has held together quite well, and anything that has kind of gone wrong, we've been able to either handle ourselves because it was cost effective and easier, and we personally always try to keep away, because here's the thing, right? The less we contact them, the less they seem to remember about rents. So we've had very few rent increases over the 10 years. The last one, the major one, we had one small one a few years back, and then we had one big one 3 years ago. That was a £200 increase 3 years ago, which, you know, funny enough, coincided with the plan to finally start looking at buying a place. And that 3-year contract is about to end. It's coming up quite soon, you know. We couldn't have timed all of this better. Everything has worked out exactly how I wanted it to work out, so that's fabulous. But yeah, we've been quite lucky. This place is hell of weirdly, it's starting to fall apart more in the last 6 months than it has done the last 6 years, which is quite funny. But yeah, we are aware that, you know, we could and we should always be like, this has gone wrong, here's a landlord, it's your problem. We had an issue with the toilet where it appeared to be a leaking pipe going out of the flat outdoors. We had to involve for that, stuff like that kind of thing. So like, all of this is going to become our problem. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that more than anything. I really am. As much as it can be a headache, it's a different kind of headache. It's my headache. I don't have to go, oh, I've got to call the landlord, and I've got to wait for him to come round, and I've got to do this. And also, you know, when you've got a landlord who thinks they can fix things, I mean, fucking electrics in this place are dodgy, man. When we put the living room light on, you'll hear something buzzing behind it. And when he drilled through the bathroom fucking wall. Like, honestly, landlords, man, they make you laugh. It's like, any way they can save a bit of money, right? But yeah, so like, I'm not going to be doing stuff. I'm not looking to be doing stuff at this place. Like, I will spend the money and hire professionals to do this stuff. That's my plan, basically. And you're like, okay, well, oh, look at you, eh? With that kind of thing. It's not a boast. It's just a reality. I'd rather save some money up and then pay someone to do it than try and do it myself. I'm not handy. I'm not a DIY person. I've never really had to do anything. I get stressed and pissed off putting furniture together, and I hate doing that. But, you know, I'd rather everything come built in one, but you can't move it into fucking places like that, can you? So like, it's just not me, and I have no interest in starting now. Right, there will be basic stuff that I'll have to learn and pick up the do, you know. I'm not gonna hire someone to come and pull some leaves out of a gutter that I can use a ladder and do myself and things like that. But for the sort of major stuff, I plan to, you know, involve, you know, professionals. I hope by the time we do it, I can't promise you when the next video of this is going to come out, because at the moment the weekly thing isn't working for me. But I hope, and definitely not next week, because next week I'll be driving up to Mangata, to Nottingham, Friday evening, and Saturday, Mangata all day, getting back Sunday afternoon. There isn't going to be much time, so don't expect one of these next week. But hopefully next time we talk, I will be able to tell you, hey, here's our completion date, or we have the keys. That is when it's finally going to feel real. I am now 100% convinced it will only feel real when I have those keys in my hand and I can jump in my car and drive to that place. Because that's the thing I can't do right now. And that's why it doesn't feel real. Until I can physically go there, enter it, open the door, and be like, this belongs to me. I own this. This is my house. This is my new home. Then it'll finally feel real. Obviously, stating the obvious, can't fucking wait. But aside from that, what else has been going on? Hey, at the time of recording, Slayer tomorrow, Slayer at Finsbury Park, all day. This is going to be fun. Looking forward to this. Right mix of bands from Neckbreaker, Hatebreed, Amon Amarth, Mastodon, and Slayer. Who have I forgotten? Have I forgotten anybody in that? I can't remember. But either way, it's going to be a fun day out. Me, Lou, Brendan, Robbie. This should be and Nick. Interesting, different group of people together. But yeah, looking forward to this. It's going to be a fun day out. Aside from that, it's building towards Bloodstock. Looking forward to Mangata. What a great festival that is going to be. Bloodstock plans, got a few things coming. Do I have anything? What else have I got coming up before then? I'm going to bring up on my calendar, actually. Alright, yeah, I'll go on annual leave from the 20th of July for 2 weeks, which is great, because I'm kind of hoping that'll be a great opportunity to slowly start moving over to the house. But yeah, on the 20th, Shooting Daggers, really been looking forward to seeing them at New River Studios. But more importantly, on that, So Far So Good, which of course is Dan's band, we were playing there. Really excited to see them. That should be a good day. At the end of that week, Mastiff, Worn Out, at the 229. That is going to be messy. I'm on annual leave, so do not expect me to be in great shape. And I think that's pretty much it, all the way to Bloodstock at the moment, unless something comes up in between. Yeah, it's been really, really cool recently. I think life's just been really, really cool. I've had a couple of wobbles, not just about the work-life side of things, but the GBHBL side of things as well. You know, it consistently proves to be high pressure, a lot of demands, and obviously, you know, not a lot of returns. I don't really know what I mean by that. Like, I guess part of me is like, man, it would be nice if I got invited to things a bit more, particularly the amount of work I do for people. But like, everybody seems to think that I should ask them, and I just don't do that. I don't even know how to do that, so it's just an awkward scenario for me. But I tend not to worry too much about it. I go through these phases. I'll have these moments. It's basically me on the edge of a cliff where I'm standing there screaming at the sky that, God, this is a waste of time and nobody gives a shit, and what's the point of it all, and what difference does it make, and oh, how insulting, you know, when someone gets the site title wrong and stuff like that, even though it's written down like it's there. It's there, you know. I'm not asking you to spell out the full games, brains, and a headbanging life. I know that, but the 5 letters, and you still get it wrong. Like, you're just insulting us at this stage. You really are, because it's not that complicated. Stop doing that, and unless you are a dick and you're doing it on purpose, big up you. Yeah, like having those moments. So I'm saying, that's what it is. Those moments where I'm just like, what's the fucking point? And often I just need to express myself. I just need to rant about it a bit. Lou will listen to me while I rant and rave about whether it's all worth it. And I had one last week, really, because of the change. It was more because of the changes at work than anything else. But yeah, I was having like a feel of just like, this is too much. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Not to the standard that I previously set. And if I can't do the standard I previously set, nobody's going to care really anymore. And what's the point? Because nobody cares now. Like all of that sort of stuff. I get over it, obviously. I calm down. I focus on it. And I sit in front of the computer. Like yesterday, I sat in that... God, what did I get up? I got up about 9:30. I think I got about 9:30 yesterday. And from then until 5:30, I basically didn't really move. Aside from, you know, toilet, eat, coffee, that kind of thing. And then again in the evening, just video editing, doing some videos with Damon, recorded some stuff, getting written stuff up, single slams, all of that, you know, and that was my day off, you know? And it's cool, don't get me wrong, that's not a complaint, but it's like, wow. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier on. It's like, I know things are going to have to change because things are changing at work, so they're going to have to change at home as well. And I'm going to have to get a better balance because obviously this means I don't get as much time to, say, watch a film, spend time with people, to playing games and things like that. So something's going to have to give eventually. I can't obviously keep doing this like to this level, but I'm confident and more confident now that I can find a balance, a better solution, and that eventually I should be able to okay in my head that sometimes the regular content just isn't going to happen because life is simply too busy, you know? I just can't give it what I used to, and that will be okay. Right now it still doesn't feel okay. Right now it still feels like that would be a disaster, but I'll get there. You know, just, yeah, I'll get there. That's it. There really isn't anything more complicated than that. I'll get there. Been hot, innit? Really, really hot. That's about the crux of the last week or two. Just hot, sweaty. Not stress, that's the wrong word, but just like frazzled because I've been getting used to sort of a new way of working and new people and all of that, and then coming back, and not saying like I come back and have to deal with house stuff every single moment of the day, but I think about it every moment of the day. So like that's still a major part of it. You know, it's trying to get everything set up, or at least believe, and feeling it's wholly unprepared. Because even like time of this recording, half an hour ago, we were sort of just talking about our approach to like what we might need to buy in regards to the new place and what we may not be able to take from here and all of that. And then we were like, we can't really plan for that because we need to get back inside the house and do measurements, and can this get up there, and what will this fit up, and all these things, you know? So it's still like we can't fully prepare. I can't wait for it to be done. I know everybody would say that, right? But I really, really can't wait for it to be done. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. That's the state of things. The state of things. It is a bit of a state. And if you've got any thoughts on what I talked about here, you know what to do. Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.